All right, Shalom, Mr. Brother Barzal from GMS Atlanta. I want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh Shemi Al Shai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and a shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word in sincerity and in truth. I just want to do this on the Kings of Israel, a response video that brother Kashakwala, GMS Atlanta also did on the Kings of Israel. I just wanted to just further elaborate on Israel, because when we had different kings, basically they chose two sides, either to do righteous or to do wicked, you know, and what they did filtered down upon the people. So it just shows you in the spirit that what you do, what I'm saying, as a man of the Lord, it definitely filters down and it spreads about amongst the people. So I just want to give two examples of a righteous king, the way that a righteous man of the Lord should live, an example of him, and how a wicked king, a wicked guy that you should avoid, different things that they do and what you should avoid. I'm gonna read about Baasha. He was a king of Israel, so I'm gonna read a little bit about him and what he did. I'm gonna go up a couple verses. This is 1 Kings 15:27. And Baasha, the son of Ahijah of the house of Issachar, conspired against him, and Baasha smote him at Gibeon, which belonged to the Philistines, for Nadab and all Israel laid siege to Gibbethon, and the man that he slew. I could go up to 25. And Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, began to reign over Israel in the second year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned over Israel 2 years. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin. And Baasha, the son of Ahijah of the house of Issachar, conspired against him being Nadab. And Baasha smote him at Gibbethon, which belonged to the Philistines. For Nadab and all Israel laid siege to Gibbethon. Excuse me. Even in the third year of Asa, king of Judah, did Baasha slay him and reign in his stead. And it came to pass, when he reigned, that he smote all the house of Jeroboam. He left not to Jeroboam any that breathed, until he had destroyed him, according unto the saying of the Lord, which he spake by his servant Ahijah the Shilonite, because of the sins of Jeroboam, which he sinned, and which he made Israel sin, by his provocation wherewith he provoked the Lord God of Israel to anger. Now the rest of Nadab, of the acts of Nadab, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And there was war between Asa and Baasha, king of Israel, all their days. In the third year of Asa, king of Judah, began Baasha, the son of Ahijah, to reign over all Israel in Tirzah 24 years. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of Jeroboam, and in his sin wherewith he made Israel to sin. And when you read about Jeroboam basically, before he had a problem with Rehoboam, he basically was contentious with Solomon. So after Solomon died, Jeroboam and Rehoboam had different wars, hence being the war of Israel versus Judah, which Jeroboam was the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. That's when the northern and southern kingdom broke up. And Jeroboam was a man that basically was not walking upright according to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord. He was going into all kinds of idolatry, and basically doing everything contrary to the statutes and commandments. All right. So when it says that they walked in the ways of Jeroboam, they basically walked in the ways of wickedness, setting up idols, setting up groves, different things of that nature, letting sodomites roam through the land, you know, temple prostitutes, extorting people in Israel for money, different things of that nature. So Baasha basically, when he reigned in the stead, he took those different traits that Jeroboam was doing, and he started doing the same thing on Israel. And this is what the Most High did to Baasha. Go to the next chapter. Then the word of the Lord came to Jehu the son of Hanani against Baasha, saying, For as much as I exalted thee out of the dust, and made thee prince over my people Israel, and thou hast walked in the way of Jeroboam, and hast made my people Israel to sin, to provoke me to anger with their sins, behold, I will take away the posterity of Baasha, and the house of posterity of his house, and I will make thy house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat. Him that dieth of Baasha in the city shall the dogs eat, and him that dieth of his in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. Now the rest of the acts of Baasha and what he did and his might, are they not written in the book of the chronicles of the kings of Israel? So Baasha slept with his fathers and was buried in Tirzah, and Elah his son reigned in his stead. And also by the hand of the prophet Jehu the son of Hanani came the word of the Lord against Baasha and against his house, even for all the evil that he did in the sight of the Lord, and provoking him to anger with the works of his hands, and being like the house of Jeroboam, and because he killed him. In the 26th year of Asa, king of Judah, began Elah the son of Baasha to reign over Israel in Tirzah 2 years. And his servant Zimri, captain of half of his chariots, conspired against him, as he was in Tirzah, drinking himself drunk in the house of Arza, steward of his house in Tirzah. And Zimri went in and smote him and killed him in the 27th year of Asa, king of Judah, and reigned in his stead. It says, and it came to pass when he began to reign, as soon as he sat on the throne, that he slew all the house of Baasha. He left him not one that pisseth against the wall, neither of his kinsfolk nor of his friends. Thus did Zimri destroy all the house of Baasha, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake against Baasha by Jehu the prophet. For all the sins of Baasha and the sins of Elah his son, by which they sinned, and by which they made Israel to sin, and provoking the Lord power of Israel to anger with their vanities. So that's a good example of what you do, what the Most High do to you if you don't walk in His law, statutes, and commandments. Not only did the Most High kill Baasha, destroy him, he destroyed his whole house because he wasn't walking in the ways of righteousness. All right, he got judged for the different wicked deeds that he did. You know, so he was set forth an example as a wicked guy Israel for us to read unto this day, to not to avoid, to not walk into the same path that he walked, because that path leads unto death. All right, I have the example of a man that walked in the ways of righteousness, and I'm gonna go down a little bit because it starts in the 22nd verse. Matter of fact, I'm gonna jump a little bit. I'm gonna start at the beginning. And the man is Josiah. All right. It says Josiah was 8 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 31 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Jedidiah, the daughter of Adiah of Basketh. And he did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, and walked in all the way of David his father, and turned not aside to the right hand or to the left. And the ways of David was the ways of righteousness. When you read about King David, he did what the Lord told him. He everything the Lord commanded David to do, he did it. He didn't let wickedness flow into Israel. He killed off wickedness. He killed off the Sodomites, the idolaters, different men that came against the throne. He made sure that everything was in its perfection in his kingdom. He killed off the different heathens that was dwelling in the land. He didn't make any covenants with them. That's walking in the ways of David. It says, and turn not aside to the right hand nor to the left, meaning he walked straight forward. He walked in the ways of righteousness without hesitating or falling short. And I'm just gonna jump down a little bit. Matter of fact, I'm gonna jump to the next chapter because that's the main point I wanted to get. It says, and the king sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Judah and of Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of the Lord, and all the men of Judah, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, and the priests and the prophets and all the people, both small and great. And he read their ears all the words of the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of the Lord. So he also basically put them on a level of understanding of the scriptures, because a lot of those rulers of Israel would take the scriptures and distort them to their liking to basically extort Israel for money and different things of that nature. So when Josiah came on the throne, he had different men go into the scriptures and break it down the right way, you know, in the ways of righteousness. That's us, the brothers in this truth, breaking it down in the proper form. All right. So verse 3 says, and the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to walk after the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all their heart and all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people stood to the covenant. And the king commanded Hilkiah the high priest and the priests of the second order and the keepers of the door to bring forth out of the temple of the Lord all the vessels that were made for Baal and for the grove and for the hosts of heaven. And he burnt them without Jerusalem and the fields of Kidron, and carried the ashes of them unto Bethel. And he put down the idolatrous priests, whom the kings of Judah had ordained to burn incense in the high places in the cities of Judah, and in the places round about Jerusalem, them also that burn incense unto Baal, to the sun and to the moon, and to the planets, and to all the hosts of heaven. So he killed off the priests, he killed off the wicked people of Israel, anybody that was not walking in the ways of the Lord. And the ones that was walking, that agreed with the ways of righteousness, they made a covenant to walk upright. You see? That's the way a man of the Lord should operate, to do what's written in these scriptures, and not turn to the left and turn to the right, like the scriptures say. It says, and he brought out of the grove from the house of the Lord without Jerusalem unto the brook of Kidron, and burned it at the brook Kidron, and stamped it small to powder, and cast the powder thereof upon the graves of the children of the people. And he brake down the houses of the Sodomites that were by the house of the Lord, where the woman wove hangings for the grove. And he brought all the priests out of the cities of Judah, and defiled the high places where the priests had burnt incense, from Geba to Beersheba, and brake down the high places of the gates that were in the entering in of the gate of Judah, the governor of the city, which were on a man's left hand at the gate of the city. Nevertheless, the priests of the high places came not up to the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, but they did eat of the unleavened bread among the brethren. And that's the main point. If brothers want to further read, you can. It's the whole book is good. Goes into Judah and Israel and the back and forth contentions and different things of that nature, till eventually we, as a nation, got broken up and all got scattered, into captivity. The northern kingdom going under the Assyrian Empire, and us being enslaved under the Babylonians. But the point of the matter is, when you walk in the ways of the law, statutes, and commandments of the Lord is going to bless you and he's going to exalt you, and it shows you as a man of the Lord also, that when you in a position, you got to clean up all aspects of wickedness, because that's a lot of work that Josiah and his men did, because the ones that before them did a lot of works of filthiness to defile it. So when they came back and came into a state of power, they cleaned everything up. That's the ways of righteousness, to clean up idolatry, break down the groves, destroy everything that's been marked wickedness in the land. All right. This is Deuteronomy 30 and 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord thy power, and that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him. For he is thy life and the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, to give them. And an example of that where it says in verse 19, it says that I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse, because Baasha he received the curse, and Josiah received, the blessing, of being in the righteous ways of the Lord blessing them to establish different things. It says, therefore choose life that both thou and thy seed may live. And Baasha chose the way of death, and him and his kinsmen all got put to death. Said the house of Baasha got destroyed, And this is Jeremiah 31:8. It says, and unto this people thou shalt say, thus saith the Lord, behold, I set before you the way of life and the way of death. Like it tells you in the book of Ezra, the tree of life is open. This is the last days, and this is the way. This is the time where you either choose to be a righteous man of the Lord and do what's right against the law, statutes, and commandments, or to be wicked and be put to death. All right, because it's only two sides to the coin: either be righteous or be wicked. The Lord's not looking for lukewarm straddling the fence. You can only be one of the other, and it shows you as an example when you walk right. Just like David, just like Solomon. The Lord bless you, bless your house. Joshua, Yahweh shot different men of the Old Testament, as an example. And if you walk in the ways of wickedness, the Most High put you to death. So I want to end it by giving all praises to Yahweh Shemel Shai, double honors to the apostles, elders, a great millstone, and the shalom to all the Akim out there pushing the word and truth. All right, shalom.